This is Nasrudin as remembering now. Remembering, there is a game called I Remember, which has been the cause of great suffering, which has been a cause of greater suffering than almost anything else. It's weird. It illustrates how difficult it is to remember even a single thing for any length of time. Goodness. Two people make a pact to practice I remember. Thenceforward, every time one of them hands anything to the other, the recipient must say, I remember, when he accepts the object. The first person to forget to say this phrase under these circumstances loses the game and pays a forfeit. Nasrudin had an I remember duel with his wife. The honors were even, and they almost lost their reason, passing objects back and forth until neither could stand the pace much longer. Mulla devised a plan. He went on a pilgrimage to Mecca. When he came back several months later, armed with a gift to hand his wife, finally to win the game in the excitement of the reunion, she met him at the gate. In her arms was a bundle. I am not going to take it, said the Mulla to himself. But as soon as he was within a few paces of her, she said, Here is your new son. Mulla, overcome with joy, took the child into his arms and forgot to say, I remember.
How long was he away?
Goodness. Several months. I don't get this one. There's a game called I Remember. You're supposed to say I remember like each time you get something. Make a pact to practice I remember.
He remembered making love to her, maybe.
Oh, maybe he didn't. I don't know. I don't understand it. You're reading something you don't understand? We'll have to meditate on
I
it.
read it from the beginning.
You understand it. I don't know how to play Remember, but I'll try it again. There is a game called I Remember, which has been the cause of greater suffering than almost anything else. It illustrates how difficult it is to remember even a single thing for any length of time. Two people made a pact to practice I remember. Thenceforth, every time one of them hands anything to the other, the reciprocant must say, I remember, when he accepts the object. The first person to forget to say this phrase under those circumstances loses the game and pays a forfeit. Nasrudin had an I remember duel with his wife. The honors were even, and they almost lost their reason, passing objects back and forth until neither could stand the pace much longer. Mulla devised a plan. He went on a pilgrimage to Mecca. When he came back several months later, armed with a gift to hand his wife, finally to win the game in the excitement of the reunion, she met him at the gate. In her arms was a bundle. I am not going to take it, said the Mulla to himself. But as soon as he was within a few paces of her, she said, Here is your new son. Mulla, overcome with joy, took the child into his arms and forgot to say, I remember.
What he forgot to say.
He forgot to say, I remember. You see, he had a plan, though.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to give her something.
Mm-hmm.
He says he came back several months later armed with a gift. But I don't understand it. Do you understand it? This is ridiculous. The reader doesn't understand what he's reading. Oh, that's the point. That's the purpose. Refutation of the philosophers. A number of philosophers had banded themselves together and were traveling from one country to another, engaging local sages in learned disputation. When they arrived in Nasrudin's town, the local governor sent for the Mulla to confront them, for all the intellectuals whom he had produced were regularly routed by these strangers. Nasrudin presented himself. You had better first speak to those who have faced the philosophers, the governor told him, so that you can get some idea of their methods. Not at all, said the Mullah. The less I know about their methods of thought, the better. For I do not think like them, nor will I become imprisoned by their artificialities. The contest was staged in a large hall before an enormous gathering from far and near. The philosopher stepped forward to start the disputation. The first philosopher stepped forward. What, he asked the Mullah, is the center of the earth? The Mullah pointed with his pen. The exact center of the earth is the center of the spot upon which my donkey yonder has his foot. How can you prove that? How can you prove it? On the contrary, you disprove it. Get a measuring tape. The second philosopher asked, how many stars are there in the sky? Nasrudin immediately replied, exactly the same number as there are hairs in the coat of my donkey. Anyone who disbelieves this is at liberty to count both. The third philosopher said, how many avenues of human perception are there? Not at all difficult, said Nasrudin. There are exactly as many as there are hairs in your beard, and I will demonstrate them if you like, one by one, as I pluck those hairs from you. They are also, he continued, equal to the number of hairs in the tail of my donkey. The philosophers consulted together, realized that their theoretical speculations were incapable of logical or quantitative proof. With one accord, they enrolled themselves as disciples of Nasrudin.
Idiotic. Yeah, you should write that to the class Dyson, to the astronomers today.
Ask me another. According to the general opinion of the uninitiated, according to the general opinion of the initiated, mused Nasrudin as he walked along the road, dervishes are mad. According to the sages, however, they are the true masters of the world. I would like to test one, and myself to make sure. Then he saw a tall figure, robed like Arkdan dervish, reputed to be exceptionally enlightened men, coming towards him. Friend, said the Mullah, I want to perform an experiment to test your powers of psychic penetration. Also my sanity. Proceed, said the Arkdan. Nasrudin made a sudden sweeping motion with his arm, then clenched his fist. What have I in my hand? A horse, chariot, and driver, said the Arkdan immediately. That's no real test, Nasrudin, petulant, because you saw me pick them up. Don't understand any of it. It's too difficult.